I've been wanting a lightweight drone for a really long time now, not because I don't like bigger drones, but because most of the time I'm hiking pretty long distances and I'm carrying a lot of other camera gear as well. When DJI asked if I wanted to try out the new LITO X1, I was genuinely very interested because on paper it sounds like the kind of drone that makes a lot of sense for people like me, or honestly for anyone just getting into drones for the very first time. But you know, what I really wanted to know was, does it actually feel good to use out in the real world, especially for someone who just wants a simple, reliable drone that they can just throw in their backpack and not really think too much about. So over the last couple of weeks, I've been taking it out with me on some walks, a few landscape photography shoots, and just generally trying to get a feel for what it's like to actually live with it in terms of weight in the pack, but more importantly, what the features and of course the image quality is like for both videos and stills. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what I can capture with this little drone throughout today's video. So when I first unboxed this little drone for the first time, the thing that stood out to me straight away was just how light it actually is. Now the drone weighs 249 grams, which means it's incredibly light in the hand, but more importantly, it barely takes up any room in your bag either. And that might sound like a small thing, but if you spend a lot of time outdoors walking long distances like I do, it genuinely makes a huge difference. Now, there have been loads of times over the years where I've left the drone at home simply because I couldn't be bothered actually carrying that extra weight all day long. Whereas this is the sort of drone that you can just throw into your bag and almost forget it's there. It really doesn't weigh much at all. And I think that portability is actually one of the biggest reasons this drone makes so much sense. You know, it removes a lot of the friction that normally stops people from taking a drone with them in the first place. So this drone comes in a few different bundles depending on what you actually need. Now I've got the LITO X1 Fly More combo with the RC2 controller, which includes the drone itself, the controller, 3 batteries, a charging hub, some spare propellers and a screwdriver for swapping them out, and of course the carrying case as well, which is really well made by the way. And there are quite a few different options depending on your budget and what features you actually need. There's also the LITO 1 as well, which is a slightly more stripped back version at a lower price point as well. I'll leave all the links to the different bundles down below so you can check out which options are available in your region. So I've been having a lot of fun with this drone over the last few weeks, but there's an area just down here that I'm really keen to see if I can make some nice shots.
Take off. Home point updated.
This is probably one of the most beginner-friendly drones that I've personally used in quite a long time, and a huge part of that comes down to the obstacle sensing. So one of the biggest fears I think a lot of people have when buying their first drone is actually crashing it, and honestly I know how that feels. I've lost a drone in the past and yeah, it absolutely sucks. Now to help with this and to give you peace of mind when you're learning to fly, the LITO X1 has omnidirectional obstacle sensing, which basically means the drone is constantly aware of obstacles around it and it can help you avoid collisions automatically. And what I noticed pretty quickly is that it just gives you a lot more confidence. You know, you stop worrying quite so much about every single movement and you can kind of focus more on actually getting the shot that you're after. There's also a forward-facing LiDAR system built in as well, which definitely helps a lot, particularly in lower light situations and during return to home flights. So if the drone is coming back automatically, it's much better at detecting obstacles in front of it, even when the light starts to fade as well. And honestly, features like this are probably the reason I definitely recommend something like this to a beginner over maybe the older entry-level drones. It just takes a lot of the stress away knowing that it's not going to crash. So another feature I ended up using way more than I expected was active track. Now normally with beginner drones, subject tracking can feel a little bit I guess limited because you need to be in really open spaces for it to work reliable. But because this drone also has obstacle sensing working alongside it, it kind of feels much more usable in real world situations. And for somebody like me who often films themselves alone, it's definitely an incredibly useful feature to have. It means you can get those cinematic moving shots without constantly worrying about controlling every tiny movement yourself manually. It also means you can put the controller down so you're not physically holding the controller while you're getting a shot of yourself, which I think again is quite a nice thing to do. I think for beginners, this is one of the features that really lowers the learning curve. You know, you can get really nice looking footage almost immediately without needing loads of practice first. You know, you can just set active track onto you and then just push the joysticks away and it will just pan up, getting you that really nice cinematic shot without you actually having to move the gimbal alongside the joysticks as well, which can be pretty tricky to do, especially when you first start off. Now, obviously, all of those things are great, but none of that really matters if the image quality isn't any good. And thankfully, this is another area where the LITO X1 genuinely surprised me. Now, the drone uses a 1/1.3 inch sensor with a 48 megapixel capacity in terms of photography, and overall the footage coming out of it looks really impressive for something this compact. It really does look good. The colours look nice, there's good detail, and it handles dynamic range much better than I expected, especially when shooting landscapes around sunrise or sunset. It also shoots 4K up to 60 frames per second in HDR, and you can even shoot 4K 100 frames per second for slow motion, which is really nice for things like waves, moving clouds, or trees blowing in the wind. There's also a 10-bit D-Log M colour mode if you want more flexibility when colour grading, which is pretty impressive to see in a drone aimed at beginners. Now, D-Log M is essentially a flatter image which you can adjust to your taste while editing, but there's also standard colour profiles in here as well, should you wish to use the footage straight out of camera. And one thing I noticed quite quickly was the low light performance. It actually handles darker scenes surprisingly well. Now, obviously, it's still a small drone, isn't it? You can't completely break the laws of physics, so it's not going to compete with the, much bigger pro level drones out there. But overall, I came away really impressed with the image quality when considering the actual size of the drone. So I'm going to try and get a few photos down here as well. Such a beautiful location, and I've got the drone set up to shoot 48 megapixel images. Now you can choose between 12 megapixel or 48. Obviously I'm a landscape photographer and I like to get the most resolution from my files, but if you want to share something quick just on your phone or something like that, 12 megapixels is absolutely fine. But yeah, I want to shoot in both JPEG and RAW and then process that RAW file later and to extract the most amount of information from the image. So yeah, let's see if we can grab a few photos. So by the way, I'm really enjoying the RC2 controller. Much prefer it actually over my older one, which was the one that took the mobile phone. Yeah, it's a lot more convenient. You're flying a lot quicker. You're not having to faff around so much, which is something that I really appreciate. The live view from the drone is incredibly smooth and responsive as well, even when you start pushing the drone further away. And that might not sound like the most exciting feature in the world, but when there's a lot of lag or signal issues on a drone, it completely breaks your confidence when flying. Whereas this just felt really solid and reliable the whole time that I was using it. The transmission range goes up to 15 kilometers as well, which honestly is far beyond anything that I'd ever personally need it for the type of things that I shoot. But what it really means in practice is you get a really stable and strong connection. And again, I think that's something beginners will really appreciate, because it just makes the whole process, the whole experience feel smoother and less stressful. Now, I've used drones in the past that kept disconnecting during flight, and honestly, it is super stressful. But with this, I've not had any issues at all. Battery life is another area worth mentioning. With the Battery Plus version, DJI says you can get up to 52 minutes of flight time, which is kind of wild when you think about how small this drone actually is. Now, I've found flight times varying quite a bit depending on how I'm actually flying and also what the conditions are like. I've got the standard battery kit here, which is up to 36 minutes. And in real world use, I find I'm probably getting between 26 to 30 minutes. Which I think is still really decent. You know, you're not constantly watching the battery percentage thinking, right, I've only got a few minutes left. You can actually take your time to explore the compositions that you like, wait for the good light to come along and enjoy the process a bit more. And honestly, I think that slower, more relaxed way of shooting is exactly how I like to work when I'm flying with a drone. So who do I actually think this drone is for? Well, honestly, quite a lot of people actually. I think if you're completely new to drones, I think it's probably one of the safest and easiest places to start because, you know, it's got loads and loads of features and it's got LiDAR and those obstacle sensing, you know, functions that really keep things safe. But equally, if you're someone like me who already shoots regularly and simply wants something lightweight and easy to carry, I think it makes a lot of sense there too. It doesn't really feel like a compromise in the way some smaller drones can sometimes feel. It still feels really capable, reliable and genuinely a joy to use. And obviously being part of DJI's ecosystem as well gives you a bit of peace of mind in terms of, you know, support, firmware updates, repairs and all of that kind of after sales side of things. That's really important actually when you're buying your first drone as well. So if you've been thinking about getting into drones or just want something, you know, more lightweight and portable that still delivers really good results, I can definitely see why this would appeal to a lot of people. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. I do hope you got something from this video. Take care, and I'll be out shooting landscapes once again next week.